Hello again. We have grown so used to some really bizarre situations in this country that we just take them for granted now as being perfectly normal. An 18-year-old man being castrated on the National Health Service so that he may more convincingly pose as a woman? Why, of course, any raving transphobe would object to his national insurance contributions and taxes paying for such a thing. Never mind people waiting for operations for cancer. We must get our priorities right. In the same way, we now take it quite for granted that a huge amount of our taxes is being used to support foreigners living in our country. This March just gone 2 months ago, households containing at least one foreign national received £941 million in state benefits. 3 years ago, the figure was £461 million a month, so this expenditure has doubled since 2022. I wonder if this is the source of what the Chancellor of the Exchequer described as a financial black hole. I'm sure that viewers will realise that this doubling in social security payments for foreigners coincides precisely with the huge surge in immigration which has taken place over the same period. No wonder there's not enough money left to give old age pensioners a couple of £100 a year towards their energy bills. I want to pause at this point and remind viewers about 2 points. The first of these is that who gets what from the Exchequer is not just some natural process over which nobody has any control. It is the consequence of decisions made by members of the government. At some point in the past, somebody or some group of people has chosen quite deliberately to hand out almost £1 billion a month to foreigners living in this country, paying for their rent, their children and their day-to-day living expenses. The same group of people decided that these payments to foreign nationals were more important than giving a benefit to old British people living in their own country. Why anybody would think that a good or just decision, I have no idea at all. The second point is that only Britain is behaving in such a mad way, which is why, of course, so many foreigners flock here rather than heading for China, Brazil or the Congo. I've worked in different countries and paid my way by doing so. When I've been unable to find a job in a foreign country I was living in, then I had to make do as best I could. Either I would struggle on in that country or go somewhere else. What would not happen was that the country I was living in would say, "Oh, you poor thing, are you down on your luck? Never mind, we'll pay your rent for you and also give you enough to buy food and pay your bills." That would have been completely grotesque. I know that this is still the situation everywhere in the world. If a man gets a job in Saudi Arabia and then the job ends, he's not going to be able to ask the Saudis to carry on paying his rent and food bills. Why on earth would they? Why should they do so? If he can't find work, then he'll have to return to his own country or find a job somewhere else. I do not regard this as heartless and cruel. It's simply how the world works. Or at least, it's how everywhere else in the world works other than Britain. Choosing to give as much money to foreigners in social security benefits in 2 months as was saved by scrapping the winter fuel payment was not an act of God. It was an act of spite carried out by a government which hates its own native-born citizens. Do not be deceived. There is a terrible reckoning coming. It may perhaps be delayed for 4 years using constitutional means, but it might, on the other hand, arrive a good deal sooner by those resorting to extrajudicial methods. But in either case, it is heading towards us inexorably. You can treat people in this way for a long time before they rebel, but when they do, it's apt to be like a dam bursting. Heaven help the politicians of the Labour and Conservative parties when this finally does happen.